Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessica Flynn and I'm the owner and maker of Flynn Sisters Boutique. And today we're just gonna hop right into this tutorial. I'm doing a simple vinyl V-split, but what I'm mostly excited about is this awesome vinyl that I got from Banff Custom Creations. Wait till you see it. I had to drop everything to make something with it as soon as I got it because it was so gorgeous. So today we're working with a 20-ounce skinny from Craft Haven, and I'm taping off my bottom like I normally do. Typically I like to use electrical tape, but I'm out, so I'm just using painter's tape, and it's getting me through. So after we run that tape line through our edge trimmer, we're going to remove the excess tape and do a quick little sanding for some prep. And then I'm going to clean this up with some rubbing alcohol and a paper towel, and we're ready to get started. The vinyl that we'll be using is kind of transparent. You're going to see later. So I do want to base paint my tumbler, and I'm going to do the bottom in just white. And then I'm going to do the top in this really pretty kind of lavender pinkish color. I forget what it's called. It's from Rust-Oleum. It is a gloss spray paint, but that's okay. No worries. We're just going to ombre those two colors together as well as we can. But I want the purple to take up more of the tumbler than the white because the Opal holographic vinyl we'll be using later looks really pretty against this purple color. After we spray paint our tumbler, we're going to let it dry for a good 20-30 minutes, or at least until it's completely dry to the touch. And here is the star of the show, this gorgeous butterfly print vinyl. This is opaque printing over like an opal holographic that's kind of see-through. It's gorgeous. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, and we want to cut off all the like raw edges from the print. We want this to be a mostly perfect square so that when we fold it in half into a triangle and we fold it into another triangle the opposite way, we're left with 4 even triangles on our vinyl. And we're going to cut out one of the triangles using the folds that we just created as our guide. I'm just going to use my scissors to do this. And this is a super easy way to do a V-split tumbler. I'm sure everyone has seen this before. And what I love about this is you'll have 3 other triangles to use for other V-splits. So it's a great way to get great use from your vinyl. Now I'm just going to wrap this around the top rim of my tumbler, make sure everything is nice and straight and lined up with that rim. Then holding our vinyl firmly to that top rim so everything stays in place, I'm going to peel back a small section on that top corner there, trim off the paper backing, and then press it firmly in place to create an anchor for us. Then I'll lay my cup flat against my desk and use my vinyl squeegee to smooth on the remainder of that vinyl, being careful that everything stays in line with the top rim. That's the one thing you have to be careful about with this technique is you don't have any kind of wiggle room. There's no seam allowance at the top like we normally would have with different kind of methods. Additionally, I probably wouldn't do this over a cup that's been glittered and epoxy just because it would be really hard to keep everything really straight and lined up. That's why I'm applying the vinyl today before we do our glitter. I'm also going to trim off any kind of overhang I might have gotten with my craft knife. And once our rim is nice and cleaned up, I'm going to mask off that V section with some masking tape. Now that we've got our vinyl taped off, I'm going to mix 5 milliliters of epoxy that will act as our adhesive for our glitter today. It's important when we're spreading on our epoxy that there's like no lines. We want to get a nice, thin, even coat. We won't even use all of that 5 milliliters, just very little. I will say though that I am using kind of a chunkier glitter today, so I'm going to make my coat slightly thicker than I normally would. But still, we want to take the time to really spread this out smoothly with our glove so that there's no lines or pooling in this coat. The glitter that I'm going to be using today is from It's Pretty Personal. These are her luminous glitters. They are a reflective type glitter. They're absolutely gorgeous. And I'm just going to ombre the 2 colors. I forget what they're called, but I will list them and link them in the description box. And I'm just going to angle my cup up at a 45-degree angle, aiming for the bottom rim of my cup, letting that white glitter cascade down not too far. I do have full coverage around the very bottom rim. Once I've got good enough coverage with the white, I'm going to go in on the opposite end with my pink. Again, letting it just kind of cascade down into the white, and we'll repeat those steps until everything is nice and blended. Once I've got my glitter applied, I'm going to let this sit on my rack to dry for a couple hours. I am using a fast setting epoxy, so this will be ready to go in about an hour and a half or less. As soon as I'm done applying the glitter, I am going to take my tape off because you don't want that epoxy to dry near the tape line. Otherwise, we're going to run into trouble. After my glitter was fully dried, I taped off my bottom again, and I'm going to apply my first coat of epoxy. I did not seal my glitter. I just tapped it off really well and brushed off the excess. And I'm going to selectively coat the cup. So I'm going to coat the vinyl first, kind of steering clear of the glitter so not to drag it into the vinyl. I could have sealed my glitter, but I really didn't feel like it. So there's that. Also, it was on there really well because I'm using a new fast setting epoxy. I can't tell you whose yet, but I will give you a hint. It is mine. We are gearing up to release our fast set very soon. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, so I am just very carefully coating all of the vinyl first. Once I've coated all of the vinyl with the epoxy, I'll move on to the glitter, kind of blending the lines between once I've got all the glitter coated so that both sections of epoxy blend together so you don't have a weird line through the vinyl and the glitter, if that makes sense. But this is what I do when I'm feeling kind of lazy and I don't want to seal my glitter, and it actually works pretty well. After I apply my epoxy, I'm going to hit it with my torch to pop any bubbles, and I'm going to let this dry for about an hour and a half, and then I will come back with a second coat. Remember, I am using a fast setting epoxy, so your dry times may vary based on the brand and type of epoxy that you're using. Now that I've got 2 coats on there, my cup is mostly smooth. I'm going to sand around that top rim to expose a fine line of stainless steel like I always do. This is where our final coats of epoxy will adhere to create the final seal for our tumbler on the outer rim rather than the very top rim where it's more vulnerable. After my sanding, I just cleaned everything up with some rubbing alcohol on a paper towel. And now we're ready to move on to our decal work. I'm going to be placing a holographic opal vinyl triangle that I sized to 4 inches wide using the shapes feature in Cricut Design Space. I placed a 1-inch piece of painter's tape down there at the bottom to help me line up the bottom of that triangle. I hand cut the bottom of the triangle flush with the decal so that I could line everything up really well, because it's really important to me that this triangle is not crooked. I'm lining up the top point of that triangle with the top point of my vinyl split, and I'm just going to place this on my cup like I normally do, and we'll use the hinge method to apply it, remembering to measure twice so we only have to cut once. Even though I have that tape there, I really just want to make sure this is nice and straight. Once I got my beautiful triangle on there, I removed that tape at the bottom, and now I'm going to place this sticker cowl right over the top of it. This sticker cowl was included in this month's sub box that was inspired and created by Misty Leonard. She's an absolutely phenomenal Tumblr artist. I loved her box and I love this decal. I thought it was perfect to go with this print. And I'm going to apply that right over my holographic triangle. I thought it would be really cool to have that holographic opal vinyl in the background of this decal to kind of mimic the look that we got in the front with the butterflies printed over that same kind of holographic look. I'm just going to press firmly on my sticker cowl, being careful not to cause any wrinkles or bubbles. You'll notice that I used a piece of tape to anchor the edge of my decal while I was measuring and making sure everything was lined up. Now we're going to be moving on to the vinyl lines detail. You guys have seen me do this a million times. Using that same Opal holographic vinyl, I cut these strips in Cricut Design Space using the Shapes feature, sizing a square to 11.5 inches wide by 0.15 inches tall. And I let them crisscross up there at the top of the vinyl section, and I'm just lining the edge of my V-split. I didn't trim my strips until I got both of them on and they were overlapping. And then I used this like cool trimming technique that I learned from my friend Jessica on YouTube. She's with Enchanted Soapery. She's super cool. She makes the coolest glitter peel sticker sheet things. I will link her channel down below where I learned this, but she just does like one little split right down the center of this point here, and then she just pulls the piece that's underneath out from under, and it forms like the perfect like miter. I think that's the right word, where the 2 points meet, and it's just really clean looking, and you're only having to make one cut. Look at that. Love it. And at the edge here, I just trimmed it off a little bit down from the very top of the rim. This helps seal the vinyl down so it doesn't poke up after you epoxy. I also cut some black vinyl strips. These ones were sized at 11.5 inches wide by 0.08 inches tall. So they're nice and skinny and fit right down the center of that opal strip, just to create a little more extra detail. Again, I'm not gonna, these ones I did trim before they overlapped. I guess. But I'm also going to double up the lines. And to make sure that I don't screw up or make them crooked, I'm using a 1/4 inch masking tape to line the bottoms of the first ones. That will give me a guide to line up the second set of lines that I'm going to place next. We just place these and trim them in the same exact way that we did the first set. Again, adding the black line detail through the center as well. After placing those vinyl lines, I removed the masking tape, and then I was ready to apply my final coats of epoxy. This cup took 2 final coats before it was completely done. I did not seal my vinyl. Normally I would, especially with this holographic vinyl, but I didn't feel like it this week. I didn't seal my glitter and I didn't seal my vinyl. But that is not a crime. I absolutely love how this turned out. I will say, and I'm just going to have a little honest moment with you guys. I used reflective glitter from It's Pretty Personal, and it's beautiful. It's supposed to react to high flash and have this really cool reflective shifty moment. But you can't really see it, especially not with all the lights on like this. You can't really see it because I was also having some issues with micro bubbles with my epoxy. Yes, I struggle with that too. I'm really annoyed with that, but it was super cold in my shop. Literally, when I was epoxying this cup, it was 52 degrees in there. My heating mats in my epoxy cabinet took a dump. They weren't working, and it was really cold here in Washington. My garage is not insulated, and so I've had to scramble and make some changes to my epoxy cabinet to get it warmer in there because it just was not working. We were having a heck of a time. But even so, it's beautiful. I love how it turned out. I will probably remake it now that it's warmer in my shop. I think it'll turn out much better. But it's still absolutely gorgeous. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. And if you liked my video, please be sure to give us a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I upload new videos every week. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon. And a big thank you to all of our Flynn Sisters exclusive members. Thank you for your pledge. Your support means the world to our channel. If you love this video, you could check out our last video here. Also be sure to find us on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and of course subscribe for all our new videos that come out every Wednesday and Saturday. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.